lives of the people in our community. That's what we need to be focused on.
Un mensaje en español para los padres. Un mensaje en español para los
If you were
padres.
governor, you said that you would have the power to do that and change these laws. Administratively, how do you go about doing that? How can Governor Abbott do that?
The governor literally sets the agenda for the state of Texas. The governor has extraordinary power to bring the members of the legislature, Republicans and Democrats alike, around his priorities. And right now his priorities are keeping women from making their own decisions about their own body. Right now his priorities are pursuing the parents of transgender kids. Right now his priority is allowing anyone to carry a firearm in public without a background check. Though law enforcement stopped 35,000 Texans from doing that over the last 5 years, deeming them too dangerous to carry a loaded gun in public, he's now allowing all of them. The question all of you need to ask him is, why does he want violent criminals to be able to carry guns on our streets? Go ask him that. He has not had to answer for any of this, and he gets by with this theater. I'm calling it out. I came here to call it out to stop this, because if we don't stop it, it will continue to happen.
You have come out and you've said, thanks, we're going to head this way.
Estamos aquí con los padres y merecen acción. Pensamientos, oraciones sí, pero más que todo acción y cambio. Necesitamos cambiar las leyes que tenemos aquí en el estado, o vamos a continuar con las masacres como tuvimos aquí en Uvalde ayer, en esta semana. Gracias.
Now, you say you want to prevent the future shootings. You say you're here to stop what could happen next. How do you, your presence here, how do you think that's going to perpetuate that?
I don't know what more I can add. I just shared all the things we can do as a state, the power that the governor has to change this, the fact that most of us in Texas do not want to accept this and are willing to make the changes legislatively to ensure that we don't continue to see this. It's on the governor. I think your next round of questions are for him. Why won't he do something? I'm here. I'm doing something. I told you what I would do as governor. What is he going to do?
What do you think about Chuck
Schumer?
Schumer?
Said that we're going to take you, if you were elected, we want to take your guns. Now, how would you go about that?
I want to make sure that no one can ever do this to a child or a classroom again. So I think at a minimum, we should stop selling AR-15s and AK-47s. We should have universal background checks. We should have red flag laws. We should have safe storage laws. These are things that most Texans, Democrat and Republican, will agree on. These are things that gun owners and non-gun owners alike will agree on. All that we're missing is the political will by those who are in leadership positions in the state to actually do soming about it.
That's it. What do you think about Chuck Schumer not saying he won't take up any new gun legislation this year?
Excuse me, guys. Excuse us.
Beto, lo último ya. Beto, real quick.
Any thoughts on Chuck Schumer saying he won't pull any new gun legislation on the Senate this year?
I've shared everything responsible for this massacre.
Hey there, Louis from Status Coup. I'm here in Uvalde, Texas. This is our second day here, and we've just been reporting on the tragic events of the school shooting that occurred at the elementary school yesterday. At this point, we're up to 18 students and 2 teachers killed, several other folks missing, and the community is just, really coming together to try to deal with this. This morning, starting around 10 a.m., folks were meeting here at the Civic Center where I am to meet with grief counselors and other folks and resources as they become available. So we're just down the street from the elementary school here. I just met Tony. We were walking down and I approached him. He came from a town further away to come see what he could do to help. Do you want to just explain, why you came down here, where you're from, and let us know why you decided to make the trip here to see what you could do to help?
We're from a little town called Bandera, cowboy capital of the world, and it's about 70 miles away from Uvalde. We're familiar with this little town, and I explained to my wife we need to do something, so I called the police department, and they said we're doing blood donations. Got here, so many people they had to cut it off. So they're taking monetary donations at City Hall for the families. So we settled for that.
Yesterday we saw politicians on all sides trying to, add their 2 cents in this. What do you think about that? And is that helping, hurting? What do you think the answer is there?
That makes me sick. They couldn't wait to start the political stuff it makes me sick. You know, they weren't, I didn't hear anything about the families or anything else from the, you know, it makes me sick they're using this as a political tool to do something, and I'm a big 2A supporter, but I would be mad if they were coming out and supporting the 2A. You don't do, there's a time and a place, and that was not the time and the place.
Absolutely. Unless there's anything else you'd like to add, thank you so much for your time. If there's anything else you'd like to add, feel free. But yeah,
it's great to see people. I saw a sheriff's department vehicle from Colorado, I think. There's somebody from Nevada. You know, all over the United States, coming to this little town, and it was sad coming in because all we did was pass the line of ambulances going back into San Antonio and back that way, you know, and I'm going, geez, this is horrible. This is beyond horrible. I don't know what that guy was thinking yesterday.
I'm here with a gentleman from Houston who decided to come up and bring some flowers with him to show some support. I guess what drove you to come up here all the way from Houston? That's a several-hour drive.
No,
and,
it is. So it's more so of a pit stop. I got 2 girls of my own. I'm a gun owner, so for me this really hits home because, you know, my kids are in elementary school as well. So for me it's like it's just how could someone do that to children? I mean, regardless of a school, just to children, you know, for that matter. So for me it was more so like I got to do something. I got to bring some flowers, something to show that, you know, that people from outside of Uvalde are also thinking about the residents here as well.
For sure, and all morning I've talked to a couple of folks now. Someone drove 70 miles away to come donate blood, and they got to the place to go do that, and they were like, "We're sorry, we got too many people in line already."
That's a good thing. That's a good thing.
Yeah, lots of good problems to have. One more question for you. What do you think about you know, kind of politicians on both sides yesterday jumping on this immediately? What are your reactions to that, and do we think that's helping, hurting? You know.
Personally, I think it's a little bit both. More so of the hurting situation because we don't need to be attacking each other, especially right now. Do that a month, 3 months down the road. Right now, let's come together. Let's, you know, talk about the issues right now as it is right now, not of political left, right, gun control, not gun control, freedom of your Second Amendment. So for me, I think it's a little bit both, but more so on the hurting effect.
Louis here. Just wanted to give a quick recap of some of the things that we saw today and yesterday. Yesterday when I arrived, the first place we headed to was the Civic Center. The Civic Center was a heartbreaking scene, arriving there around 4 p.m. yesterday. Unfortunately, that is where parents were gathered to meet their children. At about 5:30, the parents that were there began to realize that if they were still there, there was a great chance that their son or daughter was unfortunately killed during this tragic event. I witnessed a few folks finding that out firsthand, and it was, I can't explain how difficult that was to watch. We spoke with a couple folks outside of a vigil yesterday that was put on by a local church. A couple of those interviews we likely shared with you already. I'm sure you can find them on the Status Coup YouTube channel. In general, we learned that the community here is very tight-knit. Everybody knows each other. You know, if you didn't have a family member who went to the elementary school or worked at the elementary school, you certainly knew someone who did. This is the kind of place where folks are looking out for each other and they're taking care of each other. So the impact here was definitely felt really hard, but the community has really come together to try to help each other out. This morning, headed to the Civic Center to start off first. The Civic Center had now been turned into an area for folks to get resources and counseling and things like that. There were also lots of donations coming in there from local restaurants and from folks across the country who were purchasing food from local restaurants, sending food, water, snacks, all sorts of stuff. From there, or while I was there, I spoke to a few folks who did not want to speak on camera for obvious reasons. A lot of folks are very emotional about the situation. I did speak with one woman who, while talking to me, told me that she was friends with one of the 2 teachers who was tragically killed during this event. She was obviously very upset about it and did not want to talk on camera, understandably. But I wanted to pass along that tidbit that you know, like I said, if you didn't know someone directly, you at least know somebody who knows somebody. This is a small town, only about 15,000 folks who live here. After being there this morning, I headed over to the elementary school where the shooting actually occurred. We got some footage outside of the actual elementary school where you can see the sign and everything, but at this point it's mostly still fenced off. You can see all the cable news networks all piled in there. But I did get a couple interviews with folks who had actually come in from out of town to see what they could do to help. One person came in from Houston just to bring flowers. Another man drove 70 miles from another small town to donate blood. And when he got to the place to donate blood, he actually found out that they couldn't take any more people because of the amount of people who actually came and donated blood, which is a great thing to see. From there, I ended up heading to the high school, Uvalde High School, where there was a press conference. Greg Abbott was speaking there. Gubernatorial candidate Beto O'Rourke actually showed up, and partway through the press conference was removed from the building. We've got some interview with a local congressional candidate who gave us some more insight into what happened in there. And then we did a long interview with that candidate who is running on all sorts of issues here on the Democratic side in the area, and I encourage you to check out that interview if you have not seen it already. Overall, this trip was only made possible because of Status Coup. You can support our on-the-ground reporting by heading to statuscoup.com/join. So once again, the only way we're able to do this sort of stuff at Status Coup is by our paying members. Statuscoup.com/join. If you're unable to do that, subscribe to our YouTube, share it with our friends. Our YouTube channel is youtube.com/statuscoup. That's youtube.com/statuscoup. Thank you very much for watching. Unfortunately, this was a really tragic event to be able to cover, but I'm glad we were able to be here on the ground to let you know exactly what's happening.
Thanks for watching, and make sure to tune in to Status Coup's daily live stream Monday through Thursday at 5 o'clock Eastern Time and Fridays at 4 o'clock Eastern Time.